Welcome to the channel Darkness in the Night. Tonight, I'll tell you the opening story of a chilling journey in Cat Village, where the sea whispers at night, where sandy graves crack open in the dark, and where sometimes humans are far more terrifying than spirits. Rain lashes down on the thatched roof. Sea wind howls, whipping through the rows of palms along the shore. The sky is pitch black. Flashes of lightning reveal fleeting silhouettes moving on the sand. A small fire flickers weakly in the barren stretch. Around it, 4 men kneel, murmuring incantations. The acrid scent of burning incense mixes with the metallic tang of freshly spilled chicken blood. In the middle of a circle drawn in charcoal, a boy of about 16 sits bound, his pale face drenched by rain. His hair clings wet to his head as he trembles. He tries to scream, his voice cracking against the roar of the wind. "Let me go, please. I haven't done anything." A heavy-set man slaps him hard across the face. "Shut up. It must be finished tonight. Only then will the angry spirit rest." A smaller man growls, "Hurry. The sacred hour is slipping away." The boy tugs at the ropes, sand caking his hands, eyes wide with terror. Out by the surf, a lone figure watches. An old man in a tattered raincloak and frayed conical hat slowly steps forward. Lightning flashes, revealing his gaunt face, silver beard, and piercing eyes. He stops a few steps away, his voice low and rough. "What are you planning to do to that boy?" The 4 men whirl around. One spits into the sand. "None of your business. Leave now. Old man, this night isn't for you." The old man takes another step, hands slipping into his cloak. Rain pelts him, but he stands unfazed, tying someone up, scattering chicken blood, drawing a circle. The smell of herbs is heavy. "What exactly are you summoning here?" One of them lowers his voice. "Leave before you bring disaster on yourself." The old man chuckles, a sound like wind scraping through stone. "Disaster's already here. You just don't know it yet." At that moment the fire flares. Black smoke twisting upward as if fanned by unseen hands. A child's cry drifts from nowhere. Thin and broken, all 4 men blanch and stumble back. The boy yells, "Oh God, who's crying?" The wail rises again, this time right at his ear. "Mom, it's cold?" One man shudders, throwing his incense stick into the sand. "We didn't call it yet. Why is it here so soon?" The old man pulls out a talisman soaked with rain, dips his finger in the fresh chicken blood on the ground, and draws a swift mark. He shouts, his voice booming over the storm, "Scatter the light, be gone." The fire snuffs out, the beach plunges into darkness. Only the crash of waves remains. The 4 men scream and scatter into the night. The boy lies gasping, eyes wide in disbelief. The old man steps over, cuts the ropes, and pulls him to his feet. "Come with me, quickly." The boy stammers, Who are you?" "Move, don't ask. It's not safe here anymore." 2 figures waded through the rain, pushing past the rows of casuarina trees. Behind them, the cry of a child rose again, closer this time, as if chasing. The boy clutched the old man's hand. It's following us. Don't look back. Hold my hand tight." The wind screamed louder. Casuarina leaves shrieking like 100 voices in pain. In the darkness, a pale shadow drifted by. The boy cried out, "Who's there? Stop following us." The white figure paused at the edge of the sandy path. A ragged, broken voice rasped, "Give it back?" The boy's skin prickled, his knees nearly buckled. The old man yanked him forward, voice stern, "Don't stop. It doesn't have the strength to harm us yet. But the longer we linger, the worse it gets." They crossed the embankment and followed a narrow canal, reaching a small thatched hut. The old man shoved the door open and pushed the boy inside. The room was pitch dark except for a dim oil lamp. He quickly barred the door with a wooden plank, then pulled out talismans and pressed them onto the walls. "Sit, catch your breath." The boy held his head, panting. "Who are you? How did you know?" "I'm Fong. People call me Fong the Spirit Banisher." The boy swallowed hard, staring at him with a mix of fear and awe. "Those men, were they going to kill me?" "Not kill. They meant to sacrifice you. Tonight you escaped, but this isn't over." The boy trembled, Why me? I didn't do anything. Fong studied him closely, the lamplight casting deep lines across his aged face. You carry the mark. Spirits see you and know you at once. If you hadn't met me tonight, you wouldn't be alive now. Outside, the wind shrieked. A faint scratching rose at the door. The boy flinched. Something's out there. Not human. Stay still. Fong poured a cup of salted water and set it before the boy. Drink. It'll keep it from clinging to your breath. Hands shaking, the boy drained it in one gulp, gagging on the bitter brine. Fong stood, taking a carved wooden stake inscribed with strange markings. He planted it firmly in the center of the hut. The oil lamp flared bright, and the scratching ceased. Tonight, you stay here. At dawn, I'll explain everything. The boy nodded, curling into the corner, eyes wide open. Outside, rain poured in torrents, the sea roaring. From the darkness came a distant whisper. Not over? The boy hunched, heart hammering. Fong sat cross-legged, eyes shut, chanting steadily as if to lull him. Yet behind those half-closed lids, his gaze still burned, waiting for something far more dreadful yet to come. The night was not yet over. Outside, the wind wailed along the shore like 100 mourners crying. The oil lamp flickered, throwing the silhouettes of master and student onto the wall like mute puppets. Min sat huddled, eyes locked on the door. Sir, what was that thing before? Why did it sound like a child crying? Fong kept his eyes closed, voice slow and steady. A vengeful spirit, died unjustly, can't move on. The crying you heard is it demanding the return of what was stolen. Return what? I didn't take anything. Not you. Someone from this village, long ago. Min swallowed hard. This village, is something terrible happening here? Fong opened his eyes, staring into the distance. Cat Village is cursed land. Beneath those dunes lie countless bodies. Some drowned, some buried alive, even newborn infants. The sand here is soaked with blood, heavy with resentment. If one isn't careful, the whole village will become a graveyard of ghosts. Min hugged his knees tighter, his voice trembling. Then why do people still live here? Greed for land, greed for fish from the sea. They know the danger but stay. Ghosts only fear those who keep the old rites. But lately the villagers have broken them. Old graves dug up, seals destroyed. That's why it's all spilling out now. Outside, something clattered against the hut wall. Min jumped. Sir, someone's there. Fong grabbed the carved wooden stake planted in the center of the room and pressed its sharp tip into the ground. A dry crack rang out like fire sparking in sand. The knocking stopped. He spoke sharply. Not human. Don't be afraid. Min trembled. Sir, why was I the one they took? Because you're the best bait. You can see it, hear it. If they'd sacrificed you tonight, the spirit would have entered your body and become a demon. No one in the village would have been safe. Min sat silent, rain blowing through the cracks, stinging his face. How did you know to come save me? I heard the signs days ago. Felt the ground shake, saw the sand split, bad omens. I traveled for 2 days to get here. I barely made it. He paused, then looked straight at the boy. If you want to live, you must learn to protect yourself. Min's eyes widened. Learn what? Learn talismans, chants, and how to stand firm before spirits. The boy shook his head violently. I can't. I'm too scared. Fong gave a faint smile. Scared or not, you must learn. Can you run from this forever? Min bit his lip, sweat soaking his back despite the cold. He glanced at Fong's hands, crisscrossed with scars. Sir, this work, does it kill people? Fong stared at the oil lamp. Yes, but without learning, you die sooner. Outside, thunder boomed, shaking the hut. The waves struck the shore like war drums. Min clutched his head, on the verge of tears. I have no home, no one, now only you. Fong looked at him, voice softening. Then come with me. From now on, I'll teach you how to live with spirits. But remember, once you step on this path, there's no turning back. Min nodded, eyes red. Yes? Fong removed his conical hat, wrung out the rainwater, his silver hair falling over his shoulders. He took a small talisman and handed it to Min. Keep this. Wear it on your chest tonight. Tomorrow morning I'll teach you how to use it. The boy held it with trembling hands, feeling it burn like a live coal. Outside, a dog howled from afar, its cry long and mournful. Fong glanced at the door, his eyes darkening. Someone doesn't want you to survive the night. Who else is there? Sir? He didn't answer, only rose and snuffed out the oil lamp. The hut sank into darkness. Outside, the rain drummed, each drop sharp and clear. He sat down by the door, gripping the carved wooden staff, his voice low as the wind. Sleep, I'll keep watch. Min lay down on the torn mat, forcing his eyes shut, but in his mind, the sound of a child's crying echoed on, as if drifting in from the wet sands outside. In the dark, Fong kept his eyes open, fingers moving along the prayer beads around his neck. His lips murmured chants. At times, he glanced toward the doorway, as if seeing a shadow quietly watching from outside. Near dawn, the wind died completely. Only the waves remained, thudding in steady rhythm. Fong stood, opened the door, and gazed across the distant beach. The sky held a faint streak of pale light. In the sand, tiny footprints like those of a child trailed to the water's edge, then vanished. His brow furrowed. He muttered to himself, "It still lingers here. This is far from over." The sun edged above the dunes, a pale glow filtering through the hut's cracks. Min jolted awake, his back soaked with sweat. Outside, roosters crowed weakly, but the crash of waves still carried the weight of the night before. Fong sat cross-legged at the door, staff in hand, eyes unblinking. He nodded slightly as Min stirred. "Up, wash your face in the sea. Today we go into the village." Min hesitated. "The village, for what, sir?" "To find the source. Last night I saw a child's footprints leading to the tide. That's no ordinary sign." Min clutched the talisman, still warm as it had been the night before. Silently, he followed Fong to the shore. Morning light revealed a gray sea. Bloodstains still spotted the sand. The fire pit from last night was cold. Nothing left but black ash and charred rope. Min shivered. Those men? Where are they now? Fled, but they'll return. They haven't given up. Fong lifted a fragment of burnt rope, brought it to his nose. Earth sorcery. Forbidden stuff. Whoever uses it bears the weight of curses. A voice called from the distance. "Fong, is that you?" A man in his 50s approached. Thin frame, eyes sunken deep. "Thank heavens I found you. I'm Hai. I've been searching since dawn. My household, something terrible has happened." Fong's expression hardened. "What is it?" "My wife, since yesterday she's been burning with fever. Delirious. Last night she screamed and clawed the walls to shreds. This morning when she woke, her eyes were milky white, and her belly swollen like she's with child. I'm terrified." "Sir." Min stood behind him, a chill crawling down his spine. Fong nodded. "Take me there." The three of them followed the muddy village path. Scattered villagers watched, their faces a mix of relief and dread. Someone whispered, "Fong has returned. Something terrible must be happening to our village." Hai's house sat near the rice fields. Entering the yard, Min saw chickens and ducks lying dead everywhere, feathers ragged. The stench of rotten blood was thick. Hai's hands shook. "There, look, she's been like this all night." Inside, the house was dark though the sun was up. Lan lay on the bed, hair loose, skin ashen. Her stomach bulged like a drum, the muscles twitching under the skin. Min froze, certain something was moving inside her. Lan opened her eyes, her pupils clouded white. Her mouth twisted into a ghastly smile. "Who has come back?" Hai collapsed to his knees. "Lan, don't scare me." She burst out laughing, then suddenly screamed, "Give it back to me." Her hands clawed wildly, tearing the mat to ribbons. Min stumbled backward, hitting a post. Fong stepped forward, pulling a talisman from his coat and slapping it onto Lan's forehead. She shrieked, her body convulsing violently. Min's voice cracked. "Sir, is she dead?" "No, it's fighting back." Fong took a bowl of salted water and sprinkled it around the bed. Lan hissed, her voice rough and inhuman. "No one can save." Min clutched his talisman, heart pounding. Fong chanted, voice sharp and commanding. Suddenly a gust of wind blew through the window though the sky was calm. Lan lurched upright, eyes bulging, then collapsed unconscious. The house fell silent. Phong wiped sweat from his brow. For now, it's contained, but only for now. Hai clutched his head, sobbing. Sir, is my wife possessed? Fong's tone hardened. Not an ordinary ghost. This is a vengeful spirit imprisoned for years. Someone dug up its grave, stole from it, and broke the seal. Min swallowed hard. The necklace? Uncle Hai, did your wife dig up some kind of necklace? Hai jolted. How did you know? Yes. 2 days ago she found a silver necklace in a sand grave. I told her to throw it away, but she kept it, hung it in our room. Phong sighed. Bring it here. Hai ran to the room and returned with an old blackened necklace still crusted with sand. As soon as he set it on the table, it began to tremble softly. Min recoiled. Phong touched it lightly, then snatched his hand back. It's heavy. Bloodweed magic locked inside. I can't break it yet. From the yard came a chilling dog's howl. On the bed, Lan exhaled a long hiss, her lips moving. Not over? Goose flesh rose on Min's arms. Phong gripped the carved wooden staff tighter, eyes fixed on the door. Tonight will not be quiet. Night had just fallen. Black clouds rolled in, blotting out the moon. Sea wind howled, whipping sand into a blinding haze. Inside Hai's house, the oil lamp flickered, casting trembling shadows. Min sat pressed into a corner, clutching his talisman tight. Phong sat at the doorway, carved staff laid across his lap. Hai paced the room, his face drained of all color. He asked softly, Phong, tonight, will it happen again? Phong didn't turn. Yes, it hasn't left. All day I've heard its whispering around this house. Outside, the wind moaned, mingling with a long, low dog's howl. Min shuddered. Sir, is it back? Phong nodded. Sit still. Don't go outside. Suddenly, 3 slow, deliberate knocks echoed at the door. 1, 2, 3. Hai backed against the wall. Who's out there? No answer. Only the hiss of the wind. The door shuddered as if pushed from outside. On the bed, Lan sat bolt upright, eyes wide. Her belly shifted as though something crawled inside. Her mouth curled into a manic laugh. It's here, open the door for it. Min shouted. Don't open it. Phong pulled out a talisman and slapped it onto the door. The shaking stopped, only for a moment. Then a child's voice cried from the yard. Clear and plaintive. Mom, it's so cold? The wailing filled the yard. Hai trembled, sweat pouring down his face. I can't take this anymore. Phong hissed. Stay still. Suddenly, a black shadow streaked past the window. The oil lamp snuffed out. Darkness swallowed the room. Lan screamed, thrashing wildly on the bed. Min clapped his hands over his ears, frozen in terror. In the dark, claws scraped along the walls. A child's voice whispered right at Min's ear. Give it back? He cried out, lunging toward Phong. Sir, help me. Phong swung the staff down, chanting. A burst of blue fire lit the room, revealing a white apparition floating in midair. A small girl with hair veiling her face, feet not touching the ground. Lan laughed with a ghastly tone. That's my child. Min collapsed, shaking. Phong's voice thundered. It's not your child. Send it back where it belongs. The white figure wailed, then lunged straight at Phong. He raised the talisman. The whole room blazed with light. A scream like tearing metal rang out. At that instant, a shout came from the yard. Stand aside. The door burst open. A man in a sorcerer's robe, copper chains slung over his shoulder, strode in. His face was grim, eyes glowing. Hai cried out, Master Lin. The newcomer hurled his burning incense bundle to the ground, chanting loud and clear. The white figure shrieked and retreated into the corner. Lan screamed, blood foaming at her mouth. Master Lin tightened his grip on the copper chain and cracked it with a sharp snap. The metallic clang rang through the house. The apparition shriveled, then vanished into gray smoke. Silence fell, broken only by ragged breathing. Min gasped. Is it gone? Master Lin brushed ash from his sleeve. Not gone, only hiding. Phong looked at his old friend and nodded. You arrived just in time. Lin smirked. It's been a long time since we fought side by side. Tonight won't be the last. Lan lay motionless, her breath faint. Hai clutched his wife, sobbing. Master, please, save her? Master Lin knelt to feel her pulse, then shook his head. It's sunk too deep. To save her, we had to call it out, bind it, and break the curse. But even if we succeed, she might not survive. Hai burst into tears. Please, Master, do it. Save her as much as you can. Fong sat down and relit the oil lamp. Tomorrow night we must hold the ritual. Min looked at the two masters, a chill running up his spine. In his head the whisper still echoed. Give it back? The following night, a blood-red moon hung low in the sky. Sea wind shrieked in gusts, the smell of salt and blood filling the air. Hai's house was packed. Only a few trusted villagers stood inside. The rest of the village dared not come near. Min crouched in a corner, clutching his talisman, heart pounding wildly. Fong spread a mat in the center of the house, laying out a bowl of water, incense, the oil lamp, and his carved staff. Master Lin sat cross-legged, copper chain coiled in his hands, eyes tightly shut. Hai's voice trembled. Master, are you ready? Lin opened his eyes, his tone crisp. When the rooster crows at the third watch, we begin. Outside, dogs howled in waves. Then a rooster crow split the night. The whole house turned icy cold. The oil lamp flared suddenly, casting twisted shadows on the walls like dozens of arms reaching out. Lan bolted upright, hair veiling her face, mouth curling into manic laughter. Min cried out, Sir, look. Fong swiftly slapped a talisman onto her forehead. She screamed, eyes rolling white, blood spilling from her mouth. Lin hurled the copper chain, wrapping it around her, chanting. Lan writhed, the chain clanking with a chilling sound that filled the house. From the far corner, the white apparition emerged clearer than before, a thin girl. Face ashen, lips blue, eyes bulging. Mother, give back? Hai dropped to his knees, clutching his head and sobbing. I never took anything from you. I didn't know. The wind roared. The window slammed open, sand blasted in. Black shadows clung to the walls, craning their necks and giggling. Min trembled, whispering under his breath, Go away, don't stay here. The white figure turned to Min, hissing right at his ear. You, see me? You returned to me? He screamed and stumbled back. Fong slammed the staff onto the floor, blue fire bursting forth and forcing the ghost away. Lin tightened the chain, shouting, Spirit of vengeance, hear me. If you still hold grievance, speak your name and your wrong so I can free you. The apparition shrieked, the sound tearing at their ears. Give back the necklace? Hai froze. The necklace? My wife found it at a grave days ago. Fong barked. Bring it here. Hai rushed to fetch it. The necklace was pitch black, caked with mud. The moment it touched the mat, it began to spin, letting out a shrill metallic screech. Lan shrieked, her body going rigid. Master Lin chanted and snapped the chain hard. The white spirit was dragged toward the necklace. Suddenly the entire house shook violently. Children's cries, women's screams, and pounding heartbeats filled the air. Sand from the yard swirled inside like a storm. Fong quickly drew his knife, slicing his palm. He let blood drip onto the talisman. With a hiss, it ignited, blue fire twisting like a serpent, coiling around the necklace. The white figure screamed one last time, then shattered into gray smoke and vanished. The house fell silent. The oil lamp flickered back to its steady glow. Lan lay gasping, eyes shut tight. Hai rushed to hold her, sobbing. Lan. Master Lin slumped back, wiping sweat. It's done. Fong quietly gathered the talismans, his voice grave. Not yet. The hatred has dissolved, but this charm, it doesn't belong to this village. It bears another mark. Someone planted it long ago. Min glanced out the window. The wind still blew. In the darkness, he thought he saw a shadowy figure standing at the gate, watching silently. He trembled, calling out, Sir, outside? Fong strode into the yard. The gate stood empty, only the distant crash of waves beyond. He muttered, Someone is playing their hand. This fight isn't over. The next morning, dark clouds still loomed over Cat Village. The sea wind whipped sand into the air, the sun unable to break through. Phong and Lin sat beneath a coconut tree, the black necklace now wrapped in red cloth before them. Min stood close by, still shaken. Phong lifted the cloth slightly, inspecting the necklace. The carvings, not made by villagers. This is a strange seal. Lin nodded. I smell old blood. This thing's been buried in a grave for decades. Hai collapsed onto the ground, face gaunt. Then who would curse my family's grave like this? The air grew heavy. The murmur of the waves outside sounded like weeping. Min looked into the distance and saw a row of graves faintly visible in the dunes. He swallowed hard. Sir, should we go out there and see? Phong stood, his voice firm. Yes, we must see it with our own eyes. They made their way to the graveyard by the sea. The burial ground was scattered and uneven, the wind bending the weeds sideways. Some graves had already been eroded by waves, exposing raw sand and earth. Min walked slowly, goosebumps crawling over his skin. He thought he heard footsteps crunching behind him, but when he turned, no one was there. Master Lin knelt beside an old grave and pointed. Here, this one was dug up recently. The sand is still fresh. Phong pushed a stick into the soil. It was indeed soft. Suddenly Min cried out, Sir, look over there. In the distance, beneath a boulder, were fresh footprints. Small, sandal-clad feet. Fong's brow tightened. Someone was here last night. They followed the trail. It led to a collapsed rock face, where a dark crevice gaped. A cold wind seeped out from within. Min trembled. What's inside, sir? Phong held a talisman and lit incense, raising it before his chest. A cave. This is its lair. The wind whistled suddenly, sounding like muffled laughter. Min staggered back in fright. Lin frowned. Someone's watching us. Phong spun around and barked. Show yourself. No answer came. Only the thunder of waves against stone. Yet Min clearly saw two glimmering eyes staring from the crevice. He gasped. Sir, it's watching us. The eyes vanished instantly. The air pressed heavy around them. Phong wrapped the necklace back in its cloth and tucked it away. Not now. We're not ready. Tonight, we return. They started back toward the village. Along the way, dogs howled without pause. Min turned and glimpsed a hunched old woman standing on a dune. Leaning on her cane, watching them, she smiled faintly, lips moving with words carried off by the wind. He only caught fragments. You'll come, soon enough. A chill raced down Min's spine. He clutched Fong's sleeve. Sir, that old woman? Who is she? Phong stayed silent, his eyes shadowed. The secrets of this village are deeper than I thought. Tonight, we'll know the truth. Darkness fell. Cat Village sank into night once more. The waves pounded the shore. The wind keened like mourners' cries. Min lay on his mat, sleepless, haunted by the old woman's laughter echoing in his mind. Outside in the yard, Phong sat sharpening his carved staff, his gaze fixed on the distant, restless sea. That night, the sea wind roared, the sky black as ink. The moon was smothered by clouds, and Cat Village glimmered only with a few scattered oil lamps in the distance. Phong donned his brown cloak, torch in hand, and stepped out of the yard. Master Lin followed close behind with his copper chains. Min trailed after them, trembling, clutching his talisman. Phong glanced back at him. Afraid? Min swallowed hard. Yes, but I can still go. Phong nodded, turning toward the sea. Then let's move. Tonight we find out what's inside that cave. The group trudged over the dunes. Their footsteps crunched in the sand, the whistling wind sounding like unseen figures trailing behind. Min looked back, the darkness stretched endless. At the cliff face, the crevice was just as before. Cold air blasted from within, chilling their necks. The torch sputtered, threatening to die. Lin lit incense, planting it in the sand, chanting, Ancestors, grant us passage. The wind stilled briefly, then surged again as though in reply. Phong pressed a talisman to the cave's mouth and led them inside. The air reeked of mold, damp and sharp. Drops of water plinked into pools, echoing through the cavern. Min stuck close behind Fong, heart hammering. After several dozen paces, the torchlight revealed a wide chamber. In the center stood a stone table, black earthen jars upon it, surrounded by talismans scrawled in blood. Min shivered. "Sir, who made this place?" Fong frowned. "Someone who knows sorcery, and this is black magic." Lin pried open one jar. The stench of rot billowed out. Inside lay fragments of human bone mixed with red-stained herbs. Min gagged, nearly vomiting. "Dear God!" Suddenly, laughter rang through the cavern. Cold, echoing. "Well, come." The torch flared and died. The cave was swallowed in black. Min screamed, clinging to Fong's arm. Lin whipped the copper chain. Its clang like thunder. Blue fire burst to life, illuminating a hunched old woman at the far end of the cave, the crone from the dunes. She cackled, voice rasping. "So, you've finally come." Fong's voice hardened. "Who are you? Why curse the villagers?" The crone leaned on her cane, eyes glowing red. "I am keeper of my child's vengeful soul. You stole its life, now give it back." The wind shrieked, jars rattling violently until their lids burst off. Pale arms clawed out, nails long and sharp as talons. Min screamed, "Sir, they're alive." Lin wrapped the chain around his arm, ready to strike. Fong raised his wooden staff, pricking his finger to smear blood on its tip. "Stand back," he roared. Blue fire erupted from the staff's point, blazing across the chamber. The pale arms shriveled under its light, but the crone's laughter rang on. "No one can save this village. As long as the spirit remains, the curse remains." She retreated deeper into the cave. Her body melted into the shadows until she was gone. Fong charged after her, but suddenly a slab of stone slammed down, blocking the passage. The cave shook violently, dust cascading from the ceiling. "Out!" Lin barked. "The cave is collapsing." They bolted for the entrance. Just as they burst into the open air, the cavern behind them caved in with a thunderous crash, sending plumes of dust into the night sky. Min collapsed onto the sand, panting. "Sir, so it's not over yet?" Fong wiped sweat from his brow. "No, that woman, she's no ordinary villager. She's an ancient sorceress who knows how to raise the vengeful dead." Lin gripped his chain, eyes dark. "If we don't destroy her garden of cursed herbs, the entire village will perish." The sea wind howled, carrying with it faint, mocking laughter, drifting from the depths of the ocean. Min shuddered, clutching his talisman tighter. That night, Hai's house was strangely quiet. Lan still lay in a fevered sleep, sometimes exhaling as if something heavy pressed on her chest. Fong spread a large mat in the middle of the room and laid out freshly drawn talismans. The carved wooden staff, a bowl of dark dog's blood, and a packet of bright red cinnabar. Min sat in a corner, eyes wide, watching the master's work. He swallowed. "Sir, can I come along tomorrow night?" Fong didn't look up. "If you're afraid, stay home." Min shook his head vigorously. "No, I'll go. I won't leave you alone." Fong sighed and paused his work. "If you come, you obey. Don't touch the charms. Don't run off. One mistake and you'll lose your life. Understand?" Min nodded hard. "Yes, I understand." Fong studied him for a long moment. "You have the gift, but it's not a toy. Those born with it see spirits more than ordinary people and are easier for spirits to possess." Min fell silent, then whispered, "I'm not scared. I heard it crying before. I want to know how it died." Fong set a talisman on the mat. "If you want to know, you must help me catch it. Don't forget. A wronged spirit only moves on when someone guides it." The wind outside screamed and rattled the shutters. Suddenly the village dogs howled in unison, frantic and urgent. Master Lin entered, face grave. I checked houses nearby. Kids woke up screaming through the night. Many saw white figures in their yards. Fong frowned. "It's terrorizing the whole village." Lin set a bag on the mat and opened it, gleaming copper chains, a jar of black powder, and several long hairs braided together. Min shuddered. "Whose hair is that?" Lin answered brusquely. "The spirit's. I got it from the cave. We'll use it to bind it tomorrow." The wind grew wilder and the lamp fluttered. A soft, Chilling laugh came from the yard. Min jumped up. "Sir, it's out there." Fong grabbed his staff and stepped onto the porch. The night was thick and heavy. Far down the lane a gaunt figure stood motionless. Fong stamped a talisman into the ground and struck it hard. Blue sparks flared, lighting the lane. The figure vanished. He came back inside and said quietly, "It knows we'll go to the cave. It won't let us be tomorrow night." Lin sat and began tracing a ritual circle with cinnabar. A red ring rose in the center of the room, strange runes curling around its edge. Min whispered, "It's beautiful." Fong tapped his head lightly. "Not for admiring. This is what blocks spirits. Don't step carelessly into it." All night Fong and Lin took turns chanting and keeping the house sealed. Min stayed awake, eyes burning, afraid even to blink. Near dawn the roosters crowed. The dogs' howls faded. The air felt suddenly lighter, as if nothing had happened. Fong leaned against a post, exhausted though his eyes still shone. It said, "Tomorrow we go to the cave. This time we must finish it." Min clutched the talisman in his hand, equal parts terrified and eager. He knew tomorrow would be a real battle, and that none of them might come back whole. Night had fallen when they reached the shore. The wind whipped their faces raw, sand lashing against their legs. The sea roared as though voices beneath the waves were calling up. Fong planted 3 sticks of incense in the sand, murmuring incantations. Smoke curled around them, sharp and acrid. Min clutched his talisman tightly, his heart pounding. From the black mouth of the cave came a long creak, like a tomb door opening. The air turned cold. Fong gave the signal. Inside, they entered the cave. Water dripped steadily from the ceiling, the stench of rot heavy in the air. Black herbal roots clung to the walls, their tangled vines crawling like snakes. Suddenly a hoarse laugh echoed from deep within. "You've come. I've waited too long." Min flinched, gripping Fong's sleeve. Fong raised his staff and shouted, "Show yourself." From the darkness shuffled an old woman with wild white hair, eyes glowing red. Her wrinkled hands clutched a bloody sprig of cursed herbs. She cackled, "You came to stop me? Whoever breaks my circle of vengeance, I'll tear apart." Lin hurled the copper chain. It glowed and wrapped around her body. She shrieked, thrashing, "Fools, you'll never understand what I've lost." Fong bellowed, "You fed herbs with human blood, bound the village with vengeful souls. Enough." The crone screamed, "I only wanted my child back. They buried her in the sands with no prayer, no incense. Heaven denied me, so I turned to hell." The cave shook violently. From a pit rose a pale figure, a young girl, hair dripping wet, eyes glazed white, mouth open in a silent cry. Min gasped, "It's the girl from my dreams." The apparition stepped toward the crone, water dripping from her hair. Her broken voice rasped, "Mother, don't hold me anymore." The old woman trembled, tears streaming down her face. "My child, please, don't leave me alone." The girl touched her shoulder, hand cold as ice. The crone collapsed, calling out to her daughter even as her breath faded. Fong hurried to scatter cinnabar, pressing a talisman to the woman's forehead. Flames burst up, burning through the cursed herbs. The girl's eyes closed and she dissolved slowly into thin mist. The wind stilled. The cave fell silent but for the acrid scent of smoke. The crone whispered her last words. "Thank you, let me follow her?" She fell still. Lin reeled in the chain with a sharp breath. "It's done." Fong slumped onto the sand, sweat soaking his brow. Not entirely. The herb circle burned, but the wind carried some away. "It's not gone yet." Min peered toward the cave mouth. Far off, the dark sea rolled and crashed. In the gusts he thought he heard a faint, lonely sob. He shuddered. "Sir, it's still here." Fong gripped his staff tight. "Yes, this curse won't let go so easily." The 3 of them stepped quietly out of the cave. Behind them, embers smoldered, their shadows stretching long across the stone walls. A few days passed. The sky was clear, but everyone felt weighed down. Children suddenly screamed in the middle of the day. Grown-ups dreamed of the sea rising, of pale figures standing at the foot of their beds. Hai stood in the yard, trembling as he lit a cigarette. These nights I keep hearing a baby cry, like a ghost rocking a hammock. Even though Lan's gone, she's still not at peace. Wa held little Tuan, her eyes dark and hollow. Last night I dreamed my mother came back. She sat right here, hair hanging down, soaking wet. She said she was cold. Tuan burrowed into his sister, sobbing. She told me to come back to the sea. I'm so scared. Fong stepped quietly into the yard and set a bundle of incense on the family altar. Your mother has passed on, but something else is still lingering. Hai exhaled. Master, I'm terrified. My house can't take any more of this. Fong scanned the crowd, eyes narrowed. It's not just your home. The whole village is being tormented. Min stood behind him, clutching the hem of Fong's coat. Sir, I dreamed too. Last night I saw the Black Sea and a figure out at the horizon waving. Calling me. Fong placed a hand on Min's shoulder. That's it testing you. Don't answer. That evening, the entire village gathered at the communal house. People murmured anxiously. Fear hung heavy in the air. An old man shook as he spoke. I saw Lan's figure pass the yard, belly still swollen, blood dripping to the ground. Another man snapped. Last night my boy ran to the shore, nearly fell into a sandpit. He said someone called him to play hide and seek. The communal hall smelled thickly of incense. Despite the darkness, the faint cry of a child drifted outside. Master Lin limped in, voice grave. The curse is not finished. The necklace we burned didn't fully burn. A piece is still somewhere out at sea. The villagers stirred, and the older women wept. Fong took a red talisman and pasted it to the main pillar of the hall. From now until the full moon, nobody is to go out after dark. No one is to go to the sea. If a pale figure calls your name, plug your ears and run away. Min swallowed and asked in a small voice, Sir, what if it keeps calling me? Fong looked at him for a long moment. Then you must be stronger than it. If you answer, it will speak through your mouth. Wind sighed through the communal roof like a soft laugh. The lamp flickered. Shadows crawled long and crooked across the walls. Min shivered. A tiny whisper threaded through his mind. Come back to the sea with me. He panicked, clapped his hands over his ears, and stepped back. Fong grabbed him and pulled him into the protection of the talisman circle. It's already started calling for you. Tonight we must watch carefully, don't let it drag you out. The hall fell utterly silent. The distant surf sounded like someone wailing. That night, the village was black as ink. Not a single lamp, no rooster, no dog. Every door was bolted and barred. Min sat inside Hai's house, right in the middle of the talisman circle. Fong and Lin each sat in a corner, eyes half closed, lips murmuring prayers. The wind outside howled and rattled the shutters like nails scratching wood. Min flinched. Sir, the wind is so strong? Fong opened his eyes. This is not ordinary wind. Then a child's cry rose from the yard, weak, choking, like an abandoned infant. Min covered his ears, but the crying grew clearer. A whisper threaded into his ear. Min, come out? I'm so cold. He shook all over, eyes wide. Do not go out. Fong pressed his hand to Min's shoulder, forcing him to sit. The pleading grew more urgent, as if right through the next wall. Come out, hurry? The lamp sputtered. Shadows on the wall trembled as if someone walked by. The back door creaked, as though being pushed. Lin barked, hold the door. Hai lunged and slammed the bolt, but the door rattled as if dozens of hands pounded on it from outside. Min squeezed his eyes shut and whispered, Don't go, don't go. The whisper suddenly shifted into anger. If you won't come out, I'll come in. A blast of icy air slipped through the crack. The lamp went out. Darkness sank like a thick blanket over the room. Slow, slapping footsteps crept from the corner of the house. Min trembled. Sir, it's in here. Fong stamped a talisman to the floor. Blue sparks flared, revealing a white figure crawling low to the ground, bulging eyes, hair veiling its face. The pale thing snarled and lunged straight for Min. Fong swept his carved staff in a broad arc. The apparition slammed into the wall and dissolved into smoke. Darkness swallowed them again. The stench of rot filled the air. Lin wiped his brow. It was testing us. Tomorrow will be worse. Fong looked at Min. You see? It's aiming at you. From now on you must never go out alone. Min panted, holding the talisman tightly. I can hear it cry. It sounds like a real child. Fong shook his head. It borrows a child's voice to lure you. If you pity it, you'll follow. The cry rose once more from the yard and faded into the wind. Fong lit another stick of incense. Smoke curled up thick. We must find the remaining piece of the herb circle. If not, the whole village will go mad. No one slept that night. Whispering voices drifted until morning, like someone standing at the window, calling and calling. Only when the cock crowed did the calling stop. The air felt lighter, but everyone's face was pale. Min looked out into the yard. Sand had been clawed up as though something crawled there all night. He swallowed hard. Sir, tomorrow night, will it come again? Fong nodded slowly. Yes, but next time, it won't just cry. It will try to pull the whole village into the sea. The next night, Cat Village was quieter than ever. The air was heavy, storm-like, though no wind stirred. Min sat pressed close to Fong, clutching his talisman, staring at the door. The temple drumbeat struck 3 times, the signal for every house to bar shut. Darkness fell across the village. From afar drifted a lullaby. A woman's voice, slow and steady, soothing like a mother rocking her child. Min's skin crawled. The voice, it was Lan's. Hush now, sleep, my child, so mother can go tend the deep fields. Hai broke into sobs, covering his face. My God, it's really her voice. Fong's expression hardened. Do not believe it, but the lullaby crept closer. Right outside the yard, Min heard shuffling steps in the sand. The bolted door groaned open as though nothing held it. A figure stepped inside. Min's eyes widened. Lan, belly still swollen, hair dripping wet, clothes streaked with sand. She whispered, "Come with me, Tuan, Hua, come out here." Hua screamed, clutching her little brother. No, mother's dead, go away. Lan grinned, teeth gleaming in the dark. If you won't come, I'll drag you all. She lunged at Tuan. Fong hurled his carved staff, flames bursting before her face. She shrieked, staggered back, and dissolved into black smoke that shot out the door. From the village erupted screams. Someone shouted, "Someone's walking into the sea. Help!" Fong and Lin rushed outside. Villagers crowded the shore. Under moonlight, a man walked straight into the waves. Eyes closed, grinning like a sleepwalker. Fong flung a talisman. Blue fire flared, barring his path. The man collapsed, sobbing, muttering, "Someone called me, told me to fetch the fish." Men dragged him back, but out at sea, dozens of pale figures rose. Hair hanging loose, eyes white, arms beckoning. Min staggered, ears ringing. In his skull the voice was clear as day. "Min, come down here?" He stepped beyond the talisman circle. Eyes glazed. "Min!" Fong roared. The boy snapped back, gasping, drenched in sweat. Fong yanked him close, sliced his fingertip, let blood drip onto a talisman. Flame blazed up, forming a ring of fire that pushed the phantoms back into the mist. The beach fell still again, though the stench of rot lingered. Lin ground his teeth. They're stronger than before. If we don't burn the last of the herb circle, the whole village will die. Fong's eyes glinted with resolve as he stared at the sea. Tomorrow we go, even if it kills me. This ends. Min's face was pale, but he clenched his fists. I'm going with you. Far off, the waves crashed, a laugh echoing through the wind. Before dusk fully fell, the village was silent, every house locked tight. Fong slung his satchel of charms and gripped his carved staff. Lin hefted the iron chain. Min walked close behind, trembling but determined. Hai grabbed Fong's hand. Master, please save our village. Fong nodded once and strode away. The three reached the beach. The sun sank blood red. The sea stretched gray like a funeral shroud. The waves thundered. The stench grew heavier. Min swallowed. Sir, I hear the calling already. Fong gripped his shoulder. Let it call. Don't answer. At the cliffside cave, sand had been clawed away as if dug through the night. Lin lit a torch, revealing in the pit a shard of the cursed circle. Glowing faintly red, Fong's brow furrowed. It's here. He traced charms around the pit. Min knelt, scooping sand, heart hammering. Suddenly the sand collapsed. Black water boiled up. A corpse surfaced, bloated, eyes bulging, hair matted with sand. It crawled forward, wheezing. Min shrieked. "Sir!" Fong swept his staff, sparks blazing. The corpse recoiled, howling like a dog. Children's cries echoed across the beach. Dozens of pale shades shuffled closer, staggering like sleepwalkers. Lin flung his chain, snaring the first, but more closed in, surrounding them. "Min, prepare the blood charm," Fong barked. Min's hands shook as he cut his fingertip, blood staining the talisman. Smoke rose, glowing. "Throw it," Fong shouted. The charm flew into the pit. Lightning-bright fire erupted. The herb circle ignited, acrid smoke rolling. The phantoms wailed, retreating. A larger figure emerged from the sand, Lan, eyes white, belly swollen, shrieking, "You murdered my child." Min froze. "No," Fong thundered. "We're setting you free." Lan wailed and charged. Fong slammed his staff into the sand, etching a burning circle that blocked her path. She howled, then collapsed, clutching her belly, sobbing. From her womb crawled a tiny shadow, the form of a child. It crawled toward the fire, turning to look at Min. A faint voice, "Release me?" Min trembled, glancing at Fong. "Sir, I want to open the circle." "Don't," Fong snapped. "If you do, the village dies." Tears streamed down Min's face. "But it's just a child." The ground trembled. The sand sank into a yawning pit. "Hold the charm. Finish it, Min," Fong roared, gritting his teeth. Min hurled the second blood talisman. Flames surged. The child's shadow screamed, then dissolved into white smoke drifting upward. Lan looked skyward, face softening. "Thank you," she whispered. Her body crumbled into the wind, leaving only a blood-stained patch of sand. The beach fell silent. Fong collapsed to his knees, panting. Lin slumped beside him, drenched in sweat. Min sobbed. "Sir, did I just kill it?" Fong laid a hand on his shoulder. "You didn't kill. You freed it. It's gone now." Out at sea, the moon rose, lighting the water like glass. No more phantoms, only the gentle lap of waves. The sea was calm again. But Fong did not lower his staff. He stood still, staring at the rocky point at the end of the shore. He murmured, "It's not over. One root of the cursed herb still hasn't burned." Min panted, chest heaving. "But why do I feel lighter?" Fong shook his head. "That was only the first circle. The last one remains. If we don't break it, it will grow back." The waves crashed heavier, booming against the shore. A cold wind howled. A hunched figure appeared on the rocks. Under moonlight stood an old woman with white hair, bent back, ragged brown robe. She rasped with a laugh like tearing wind. "You dare break my charms? Dare steal my child's soul?" Goosebumps prickled across Min's skin. Fong stepped forward. "You're the one who planted the cursed circle years ago?" The crone's voice cracked with fury. "I fed it for 20 years, blood of the living, souls of the dead. It is my child. You burned it, so I'll kill the whole village." The sea boiled. From beneath surged countless hands. Corpses floated ashore, drowned men. The long missing, swollen bodies crawling onto the sand. Min staggered back, heart hammering. "My God, they're alive again?" Lin swung his chain, chanting. The links bound the first corpse, bones crunching, but the others kept crawling forward. Fong scattered cinnabar, drawing a great fiery circle in the sand. "Min, inside," he shouted. The two stood within the blazing ward, flames driving back the dead. The crone stepped onto the beach, eyes glowing red. "You think your charms can stop me?" She drew from her robe a small bundle. Inside lay a fragment of bone wrapped in red cloth. Fong froze. "Child's bone? You've kept it all these years?" The old woman laughed madly. "Yes, I kept it so my child would never forget me. Tonight it will possess the villagers. Every one of them will hear it cry, will hear it call. No one will sleep." Min clenched his fists. "You're cruel. Why won't you let it rest?" The crone shrieked, voice piercing the night. "Because this village killed it. Buried it in the sand like a dog. I'll see them all buried too." The wind roared, Sand lashed like knives. The ward's fire flickered. Fong roared back. Min, the final charm, now. Hands trembling. Min fumbled the blood talisman, nearly dropping the blade. Suddenly a small pale figure appeared, the child again. It crawled to the crone, clutching her leg. Its whisper was faint. Mother, don't? The old woman faltered, eyes blinking fast. The child turned to Min. Release me? Min's lip quivered. Master, I don't know what to do. Fong's voice cracked like thunder. Burn it, Min. It's begging for freedom. Min hurled the charm onto the bone. Flames erupted, consuming it black. The child smiled softly, dissolving into white smoke that drifted skyward. The crone wailed, collapsing, clawing the sand until blood smeared her fingers. You stole my child again. I swear I'll return. The ward's fire surged, engulfing her and the crawling corpses. Her scream echoed across the shore, then silence. Only waves whispered, the moon bright and cold. Min collapsed onto the sand, tears streaming. So, is it over, Master? Fong stood silent a long time. At last he muttered, No, the root burned, but her vengeful spirit remains. There will be another night. He turned and walked back toward the village. The next morning, Cat Village was eerily quiet, as though no storm had ever struck. No more cries in the night. No pale figures drifting along the shore. But no one spoke of what had happened. Hai rebuilt the family altar in silence. Wall lit incense, her eyes swollen red. Father and daughter knelt, bowing to Fong, Master Lin, and Min. Hai's voice broke. Thanks to you, to young Min, my family still lives. Thank heaven. Fong only nodded, saying nothing. That afternoon, Fong decided to leave the village. He, Master Lin, and Min set out for the mountains. Villagers watched them off with relief, but still cast fearful glances toward the sea. On the road, Min walked quietly for a long while. At last he whispered, Master, I still hear the crying in my head. Fong did not look back. Let it be, as long as you don't answer. It will fade. But that night, when they reached the monastery, something was strange. The night was still, the moon bright, the wind creaking through the trees like groans. Min laid out an offering of thanks. He had just finished when a shadow flickered past the window. Quick as smoke, he jumped, heart racing. Who's there? No reply, only a whisper in the wind. It's cold here. Shaking, Min backed away. Fong stepped onto the porch, gazing into the darkness. Suddenly, he chuckled low. He murmured, I knew it, you haven't gone yet. Min blanched. Who are you talking to? Fong gave no answer. He lifted his staff and walked into the night. The insects fell silent. Only the faint slap of his sandals echoed. Fading into the dark, Min froze where he stood. In the wind, he thought he heard soft laughter and his own name called. That night he couldn't sleep. In his dream he saw Fong standing on the beach, back turned, his shadow stretching long into the waves. Then the shadow turned its face. And it was not Fong's face, but the sea crone's, red-eyed, smiling. Min jolted awake, drenched in sweat. Outside, the wind shrieked, whispering like a voice just beyond the door. The tale ends here. A temple drum boomed in the distance. Heavy and long, Cat Village slept, but the sea still murmured, forever telling of the restless souls left behind. Thank you for staying with the story until the very end. But, are you certain you're alone right now? Tonight, if you hear the wind howling outside your door, don't rush to open it. If someone calls your name, don't answer. Because perhaps, the sea crone is already waiting in your yard. Don't forget to subscribe to *bong toi trong dem * for more chilling tales. We'll meet again in the next story, when night falls once more. This video is a work of horror fiction, created purely for entertainment. We do not endorse superstition or dangerous acts. Any resemblance to real people, places, or events is purely coincidental. Thank you for supporting Bong Toi Trong Dem.